I love this comic book, The Walking Dead, book number 2. After a long night of driving, Rick arrives in Georgia. He finds a gas station and is not happy that it is out of gas, just like the rest of the gas stations he's checked. He keeps driving until he runs out of gas. He continues his journey on foot. He spots a farm nearby and goes to take a closer look. After knocking and getting no answer, he enters the house. To his horror, he discovers the entire family is dead. They have committed suicide. After running out of the house to vomit, he spots a barn. There, he finds a horse and a hatchet inside, and he continues his travels to Atlanta on horseback. On the way, he starts rambling to the horse about when Carl was born to try and make himself feel better, but it doesn't. Rick finally makes it to Atlanta and finds it's been abandoned. A few zombies spot him and start to follow him, with their numbers growing slowly but surely. As he rides further into Atlanta, Rick runs into a street full of zombies. He tries to turn around, but the way he came is blocked by zombies as well. He gets thrown from his horse, and most of the zombies attack and devour the horse. But other zombies turn their attention to him. He uses the hatchet he found at the barn to protect himself, but is soon surrounded again and begins to use his gun. He runs into an alley when suddenly a young man named Glenn grabs Rick and tells him to follow him and also to stop shooting. Glenn grabs the ladder to the fire escape and tells Rick to follow him. Rick says he's never seen so many zombies, but Glenn tells him that's nothing, and if he'd gone only 50 feet more into the city, he would not have survived. They climb to a rooftop, and Glenn proceeds to jump to the roof of the other building. Rick hesitates, but he jumps when he realizes he doesn't have any other choice. From that point, they make it down the building and make a run for the woods that are about a block away. Glenn says that the zombies are slow and that it is relatively easy to get around them. He also warns Rick that if you get bit by a walker, it will kill you. The two finally make it to the edge of town near a wooded area. Glenn is surprised that Rick is so inexperienced, but Rick tells him that he's been in a coma. Rick asks Glenn what happened to the people in Atlanta, and Glenn informs him the zombies were those people. Glenn tells him that the government tried to herd everyone into the cities, but people started dying and turning into walkers. In the space of a week, everyone in Atlanta had died. Rick falls to the ground as he fears that his wife and son are now dead. Glenn consoles Rick and tells him that he is with a small camp of people and brings him along. Glenn tells him the camp is mostly made up of latecomers who tried to get into Atlanta but couldn't, so they set up camp in the woods. Rick asks if that's safe, but Glenn assures him they have cars for shelter and take turns keeping watch. He adds that they're camping close to the city as they figured it would be easier for the government to find them when they stop the outbreak. Just as Rick gets to the camp with Glenn, he sees his wife, Lori, and his son, Carl. All three embrace, happily reunited. It is comforting to know that in The Walking Dead, they have as many problems with gasoline as we do. The horse in the barn as transportation is a nice scene setter for what is to come, because it appears a lot of modern conveniences no longer exist in this world that is now taken over by zombies. The horse was the main form of transportation before cars were invented around 100 years ago. At least it's just 1 century's worth of technology that seems to be lost. Rick's arrival at Atlanta, that is shocking. It's abandoned, devoid of human life, but not zombie life. It's a mass of zombies and not a safe place for humans. The fact that Glenn said it only took 1 week for everyone in Atlanta to become a zombie, that's extremely fast and frightening. From all that Glenn tells Rick, he was in a coma for about a month. A month was all it took for the world to be mostly wiped out. Honestly, that speed is scary. Glenn fills him in on more about the zombie takeover. Getting bitten by a zombie will kill you and turn you into a zombie. At least Glenn has said they are slow, so if there aren't that many, you can get away. The camp in the wooded area of town. I am guessing the woods provide a bit of safety as the walkers probably don't navigate well. If they walk into something, they may not have the ability to turn or go around. Also, shuffling walkers make more noise, and the sound would be an early warning sign, a primitive security system. The surprise at the end was a big pick-me-up, and the first real positive thing to happen. Rick's wife Lori and son Carl are at the camp. There is a reunion. Rick has completed his quest to find his wife and son. Thanks for tuning in to the I Love This Comic Book podcast. If you would like to make a donation in support of this podcast, you can through Cash App to Pasta26MC. That's pasta like the food, the number 2, the number 6, M as in monkey, C as in cat. If you would like to sponsor this podcast or advertise on it, please send an email to podcast@pastasworld.com. As always, you can go to pastasworld.com for more information.